some of these books they hit during October. I am actually wearing an Akatar sweater. This was so good. Then I felt like by that point, I just didn't care anymore. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Leslie, and this is going to be a wrap up of all of the books that we read in October. This month, I read 5.5 books. I had 3 4-star reads, 2 5-star reads, and my first ever DNF. My New Year's resolution, and it's only October, but I've already been thinking about it, was going to be to DNF books that I wasn't enjoying anymore. But then I thought, why did I have to wait until January to suffer through books that I just wasn't enjoying? So I DNF'd one this month. I read a total of 2,577 pages. And let me tell you, some of these books they hit during October. So without further ado, let's get right on into today's video. The first book that I read this month was Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. I'm so sorry that I'm saying that probably so wrong, but this book was so cool because inside you get the pictures that the boy draws. This is the first one, and they get creepier and creepier as the story goes on. There were some reveals in here that I predicted, and there were some reveals that I never saw coming in a million years. I rated it 4 stars. Okay. The reason I didn't give it 5 stars was because there's this one paragraph where there's this old lady who's just complaining about the landscaper, saying that he's going to basically that he wasn't going to be the most trustworthy person just because of his race, which was not even relevant to the story at all whatsoever. And that was really the reason why I gave this book 4 stars. I also thought that the author could have made this a lot creepier than it ended up being. It wasn't as scary as I was expecting it to be. I also read We Used to Live Here in September, and that book was way scarier than this one was, and I'm an absolute baby. So if I wasn't scared reading this, I feel like that they definitely could have done more. I just wanted to be scared in October. That's why I wanted to start. Basically, what this book is about is this girl, Mallory, is just out of rehab, and she needs a job. So her sponsor gets her a babysitting job, and she's this live-in nanny for this little boy, and he starts drawing really creepy pictures, and Mallory's like, hey family, things are a little weird, and the story goes from there. It was so good. Highly recommend, except for that one paragraph, but I would still recommend it. It was still a really good read. The next book that we read is A Court of Silver Flames. Now, I am actually wearing an Akatar sweater. I like this series a lot. This book I was looking forward to at the end of A Court of Wings and Ruin, because I felt like that Sarah J. Maas did a great job of setting this book up. But the characters were making the absolute dumbest decisions. Because of that, and because I just absolutely cannot stand Nesta, she is actually insufferable, I did knock this down to 4 stars. The plot was definitely a 5-star plot if you get past part 1. Part 1 was definitely my least favorite out of them all. And then as the story kept going, the plot just kept getting better and better. Because this is the 5th book in the series, I can't really say what it's about, but basically this book no longer follows Rhys and Feyre. It follows Cassian and Nesta instead. It's also written in the 3rd person, but that didn't bother me at all. it was just like, it is what it is. So the next two books that we read were actually 5-star reads for me. And the first one was That's Not My Name. And we are following our two main characters, Drew and Mary. So Mary is the main female character. Basically, we start off the story by Mary waking up on the side of the road, bruised, beaten, battered. She has no idea what's going on. And as she's walking down the road, the local sheriff deputy sees her, brings her into the police station, and that storyline proceeds from there. There's another storyline going on where Drew is our main male character. Drew's girlfriend goes missing. And this storyline follows Drew getting questioned by the sheriff in his town. Basically, they say the person closest to them is likely the one who did it. So Drew is trying to clear his name of being accused of harming or hiding his missing girlfriend. So basically, the story goes from there, and this was so good. I could not put it down. It was so amazing. I literally finished it in one day. This was a day that I also worked as a teacher full-time. Started it during my prep period, read it during my prep, read it during lunch, read it after school, read it in bed, didn't go to sleep until I finished it. It was so amazing. Instant 5-star read. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Cannot stop talking about it enough. The next book that we read, I'm so excited to talk about, and I want to talk about all of my thoughts, all of my feelings, but I know that I can't. The next book that I read was Phantasma. 5-star read. It was so good. And a lot of people said that they liked Enchantra better, but I did like Phantasma a little bit more. But this is like something about me. Usually if I fall in love, like absolutely in love with characters in a book or a series or interconnected things, usually the first book in the series is my favorite if it starts off good. Ophelia, her mother just passed away, and the two sisters are struggling, and Genevieve, which is the other sister, decides to take place in the Phantasma game to try to earn a favor from the devils so that she can help out their family. And Ophelia basically enters into Phantasma to chase after her sister and basically tell her sister, like, girl, what are you doing? So basically the story follows Phantasma and the games. This book has trials and it's a paranormal romance. I thoroughly loved it. It is dark, but not like I wouldn't say like the spice is like what's dark, but like the themes and the atmosphere is very dark. I wouldn't even say very dark. It's just dark. I loved this. This was the first book in the Wicked Games series. Immediately after, I read Enchantra, which I rated 4 stars, which was the second book in the series. It's an interconnected series, so I can't tell you what this one is about. This one is about Genevieve. Basically, Genevieve is looking for another family that is kind of in the same situation as hers and Ophelia's. And Genevieve and Ophelia are kind of in this magical family, but Ophelia has magic that Genevieve doesn't. And so Genevieve has always felt a little bit of an outcast in her family, and she felt like that she didn't get as much attention. So she's just looking to see if another family also had this experience or if it was like unique to her own situation. And basically, she meets the Silver family, and the story takes place from there. This is called the Wicked Games series. So in this one, we have The Hunt, which is kind of like a deadly game of hide and seek. Whereas in the first one, it was more of like a level by level trial, whereas each one was like all very different. Whereas The Hunt is just like slightly different, like levels. As for the story itself, I liked the romance in Phantasma better, but I liked the games of Enchantra better. So I thought that like the stakes felt higher in Enchantra than Phantasma, even though it was both like very high stakes. The last book that I read, I was on a paranormal romance kick for October. So I wanted to try reading Belladonna. I have heard amazing things about Belladonna, and I wanted to see what the hype was about. I didn't see what the hype was about. I didn't hate this book, but I also didn't enjoy it. It was giving me a solid like 1.5, 2-star read. Like I can see why people liked this book, but it wasn't for me. So this is, I believe, a YA book. I could be wrong, but from what I understand, it's a YA book, and it literally took me until 33% of the way in to figure out what the book was going to be about. And that's just not okay. Belladonna is about a young girl. She's 19. Her name is Signa. I don't know how you pronounce it. In my head, I was calling her Signa. So Signa is basically, in the prologue, we find out that everyone around her like dies unexpectedly. And Death, who is a character in this book, like sees her as a baby and is like enraptured, enthralled, interested, one of those words. He's intrigued by her. Okay, so he is intrigued by her. And he like kills everyone around her, like takes the souls of everyone around her. I don't really know how that works. And then he like sees Signa is a baby and is just like, huh, I'm not supposed to take you, but I'm supposed to take everybody else. Cool. And then like, because she's orphaned, she gets passed around from like family member to family member, because every family member that she ends up coming into contact with dies. They just die. Then the last living family that Signa has is who this storyline follows. So Signa gets sent to live with the Hawthorns, is their last name. And basically, the Hawthorns just had the matriarch. She just passed away from an illness, and their daughter has the same illness right now. So Signa comes, she sees that the girl is sick, and she's like, this girl's going to die around me too, and then they're going to send me away because they're going to think that I did it. So basically, her job, once she gets to the Hawthorns, is that she needs to figure out how to stop the daughter from passing away. And so she kind of teams up with like the stable boy that goes and picks her up initially to take her to the Hawthorns house. She like kind of teams up with him to try to figure this out. And it took so long to get to that point that I had just checked out. This author just might not be for me. And I'm going to tell you why. So this author loves her a good simile. And she will describe things in such detail, which doesn't sound like a bad thing. You're like, visualizing? Okay, I can see it in my mind. Cool. But like, she's overly descriptive. And by that, I mean like someone could be wearing an orange dress, and I'm looking at a pumpkin right now because it's fall, so I'm seeing an orange pumpkin. But she'll be like, oh, the dress that I was wearing was as orange as a pumpkin, as flowy as a river, and as big and plump as I don't know, a bowling ball. Not really, but it was the only big thing that I could think of. So like she just uses so many comparisons that by the end of a paragraph of her describing a simple dress, I forget what we were talking about. And then I have to go back and reread it. And like everything that you see, you hear, you talk about is overly described. But like, as I said, I don't even know how that works with the death is a character and like taking some of the people but not taking the people. I don't know if he's actually killing them. I don't know if he's not killing them. I don't know if they're already dead and he just comes and takes their souls. Like that felt like it should have been more described, but that she wears like a yellow dress to something. Like that was way too described for them just to say that she had a yellow dress that she didn't actually like, that everybody else liked, but like that she didn't like. Like, why couldn't we just say that it was an expensive, fancy dress that didn't suit her personality, so she didn't like it? Why did we need, like, that's what my issue with this book was. Like, the premise seemed like that it would be right up my alley, especially after reading Phantasma and Enchantra, but then like the execution was not what I wanted at all whatsoever. So I DNF'd. I gave it until 50%. I finally started getting into the plot, but then I felt like by that point I just didn't care anymore. So that was that one. Wasn't for me. And now I'm reading a book that is actually on my 10 before the end. So can't tell you what my current read is, but thank you so much for joining me today. If you made it all the way until the end, leave me a pumpkin emoji because I feel like that's fitting. So drop me a comment with a pumpkin emoji. Give this video a thumbs up. It helps so much. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will catch you in the next one, which will be my 10 before the end. Thank you. Bye.